All right. Welcome to Wednesday Evening Encore. So I'm going to open it up like this. Most women entrepreneurs don't have a pricing problem, they have a packaging problem. She's not saying no to your price, she is saying no to your confusion. That's how we're going to anchor everything on this particular episode of Wednesday Evening Encore. How many of you have gone to a clearance store? There's several of them around the country, you know, no pun intended, but I'm going to land one such as any of you have been to maybe a TJ Maxx, maybe a Ross, or maybe uh, some other type of clearance store. I think Dillard's clearance. You know, how many of you feel like that's something chaotic? I don't know about you, but whenever I go into one of those clearance stores, always it's I feel so confused by it all, and I know they do their best as far as maybe separating things into uh sizes and perhaps even colors so that is less chaotic for the visitors, for their shoppers to come in. However, most times that doesn't quite work. Now, what I want you to do now is to think about when you are in a boutique. Think about when you are in one of your favorite brand stores that everything is itemized and placed and it's laid out and merchandised accordingly. Think about the difference. Now, it doesn't mean that the clearance rack or are cheap stuff, right? We're not stating that particular part. So use that particular illustration as what you're offering to your clients. Your offers should feel like a boutique experience, not a clearance rack of unfinished brilliance. Have you ever noticed that for those of you who create, those of you who have services, multiple services, um, products, as well. Have you ever noticed that the more you create, the less your customer actually buys? The more options that you give them, the less clarity your client or she feels. It's like showing a woman a closet full of clothes and saying, pick your favorite outfit, all while forgetting to tell her exactly where she's going. This particular episode of Wednesday Evening Encore is going to fix just that particular problem. I'm going to show you how to remix what you already have into something that's magnetic without adding one more thing to your to-do list, because we do not need to add anything else to our to-do list, right? So let me share with you a story. I worked with a client by the name of Danielle, and that's her real name. Danielle is a brilliant woman. She had three different separate $97 offers. All of them were good. All of them were full of heart. One was a mini course. One was a workbook. One was a live Q&A series, and she was selling all three. And people were telling her, I love your content, but I'll grab it later. There was no urgency. There was no demand. everyone just simply gave really polite comments. So what we did in working with Danielle is that we took a look at what she was really selling, not the task, not the templates. She was selling confidence and visibility. Confidence in visibility. And so what we did, we bundled everything. We bundled all three of her particular offers, gave it one name, and the name that we settled on was the brand glow kit. It was the same content, it was the same audience, but the second that she named the transformation and not the tools, she sold out in 9 days. So she didn't raise her prices. She actually raised her perception. And so here's the problem as far as what I identified while working with Danielle. You've often been told that more offers equals more money, but more offers often mean more confusion, point blank. Not only for your client, but for you. Your client doesn't know, what to buy because she hasn't been made to feel the story that connects it all. And if you've ever looked at your Stripe or your PayPal, or your whatever platform they're using for your financial transaction dashboard, and if you ever thought, why am I working this hard for this little? That's not burnout. That's brand dissonance. And when your offer doesn't speak to each other, your audience doesn't listen to either one of them. Matter of fact, what happens is that it's not rejection, it's the indecision disguised as politeness because your client is confused. You're giving her a puzzle full of pieces without showing her the picture on the box. Just imagine about how confusing that is. And a lot of people think that the fix is, I need to create a new product. The fix isn't a new product. It's becoming more aligned. Remix what you already have, connect your offers under one emotional promise, and that's how you're going to build resonance and not resistance. So let's give it some relief, though. It probably have gotten you all stirred up, based on some of these challenges that are mirroring you actually in the face. But there is relief. You're not too late. You're not behind. You're just building in fragments. And when we build in fragments, fragments never convert. You don't need more brilliance. You already are brilliant. You just need to bundle your brilliance into something that's actually believable. And so this isn't about tricking your audience. This is no trickery here. All we're doing, it's about translating your value so that your client finally sees what you've been trying to say all along. That's it. Now, let me show you what alignment really looks like. There was another client that we work with. Her name is Fatima. Fatima had a somewhat of a membership system. It was a one-on-one offer and a retreat. All of them were selling separately, but they were very inconsistent. So what we help Fatima to do is to rename the ecosystem. Instead of three offers, the membership, the one-on-one offer, and the retreat, instead of having those three different offers, she now had one journey. And we renamed that ecosystem into what she now calls the Rebirth series. And so within 30 days, her retention doubled, sales stayed steady, even when her posting on social media and emails, uh, she actually didn't have to post as often, and sales still stayed steady. Now, that's the power of the offer remix that we were talking about. Now, the strategy that I just broke down, it breaks down even deeper inside a blueprint that I've recently created called the Visibility Voltage Blueprint. And if you haven't grabbed your copy of that, the link is in my bio, and it'll show you which of your offers is carrying the most energy right now. Now, let's talk about what to do, when to do it, why to do it, and when you do it, what to expect. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to remix your offer around her emotion, not your workload. So you want to bundle. When you bundle, you want to bundle with clarity, not be complex. We don't want to. They don't want to know how smart we are, right? We don't want to make things complex. We want to make things simple and clear. Bundle it for clarity. Now, when do you do it? You do it before your next launch. Whatever you're planning right now to launch, you want to remix that particular offer before your next launch, depending on what you're launching and what you already have. Do it now while your audience curiosity is still alive, because your client doesn't buy programs or products. She buys permission to believe in her own next version. People want to know and get to the outcome that they are envisioning. And remember, we've talked about this before. People buy the bridge, they don't buy the planks. They want to be able to see themselves in the outcome, not the problem, not the challenges, not to be agitated. They want to see themselves, they want to see the next version of them. And we want to frame and remix that particular system and use it in the name of the system or what you're remixing for clarity, not complexity. Now, when you bundle, excuse me, when your bundle becomes an emotional experience instead of that of a menu of different options, your buyer stops hesitating. And when your buyer does is your buyer begins to lean in, your buyer shares about the experience, and she says the words that every founder, business owner wants to hear. This just makes sense. At that particular point, you know that they are ready. So, if this particular message hits differently, what I want you to do is to save this particular replay, because when you begin to hear it again, it becomes deeper when you listen to it again, and that's where the real growth begins to work. And then what I want you to do is to go download your copy of the Visibility Voltage Blueprint. It's going to help you to pinpoint which offer in your ecosystem holds the next revenue breakthrough. And if you're ready to align everything, not just sell one product, but scale your position. Remember that I have what's called the complimentary 15-minute brand blueprint session. You don't need a credit card. There's no pitch. Yet what you're going to come out with is a roadmap that's tailored for you, your brand, your business. But here's the catch. I only open up 5 sessions a week for that, and they go quick, because I don't just want you to sell. The goal is for you to stand out. Don't want you to sell. I want you to stand out. And that's why um, those sessions are at a very minimum as far as the quantity that to be able to book. So keep this in mind. You don't need more offers. You need orchestration. Now, think about an orchestra. Those of you who have been to an orchestra, what's your favorite orchestra? Maybe some of you, there are a lot of the hip hop artists these days who are being booked to perform in front of an orchestra, as well. So think about the music, the arrangement of an orchestra. Think about your favorite movie, the scoring of the music of your favorite movie. Does that production and the desired effect of it just happen? Your brilliance is just like that. Your brilliance doesn't need a discount. All it needs is direction. In this particular episode, you'll learn how to bundle what you already have so that your client will buy it, not just because you need to work any harder, but because your brand deserves to sound as powerful as it truly is. And when you do that, when you do just that, your client is not going to compare you to others anymore. Your client is only going to remember you, you, you. So next Wednesday, we're going to talk about retention flywheel, how to turn your clients into return clients, how to turn new clients into return clients. That's what we're talking about. Retention flywheel, how to turn new clients into return clients. It's about keeping the client that you already have who has said yes, because your next six figures might just be sitting quietly in the last six clients that you've actually worked with. So, what I want you to do is to follow, share, turn on notifications, and before you go grab the Visibility Voltage Blueprint, because visibility isn't about being seen. It's about being remembered, and that's where your next chapter starts. So thank you for tuning in to Wednesday Evening Encore. I'm your host, Christopher D. Thomas. And until next time, have a great one.